folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge farmer. Welcome back to the farm. Today we're gonna have some fun on the farm. We're putting together a wood chipper. So if you followed the farm vlogs about a year and a half ago, we had a tow behind wood chipper that caught on fire. Well, I didn't like that tow behind wood chipper, as you probably could guess, so we ended up fixing it back up and we sold it, and we wanted to get a PTO driven wood chipper. So now we've got this BX62S from Titan Attachments. We're going to be putting it together today. We're going to take it out in the woods and we're going to start using it to chip up wood. Instead of wasting it, instead of making big piles of wood, we're going to chip it up, we're going to utilize it, we're going to help build the soil here on the farm, and Mrs. Stoney Ridge is going to help me put it together. All right? From Stoney Ridge, Stoney Ridge Farm. First of all, let's show you how this thing came. So we ordered it from Titan Attachments. It comes in a metal crate, and basically I've already disassembled the metal crate. This one just had a top on it, and this is the hopper that you use to feed the chipper. This right here is the chipper itself. The whole system itself weighs about 900 pounds, and we're going to be hooking it up to our Massey Ferguson 240 tractor. Now this tractor is a claimed 41 PTO horsepower. This thing is set up for, I think, between 30 and 60 horsepower, so I think this tractor will be plenty to work with it. If not, we'll use our John Deere 5065, which is 63 PTO horsepower. Now you can see I've got the scrape blade on this tractor. We'll get it all warmed up, take that scrape blade off, get this thing all hooked up, and give it a shot. It's going to be fun. In case you order one of these for yourself, it pretty much requires 2 people to assemble it. If you had a tractor with a bucket on it, you could probably lift all these parts up and assemble it by yourself, but we got Mrs. Stoney Ridge right here, and she's pretty good help. She's good with nuts and bolts. The way this works is underneath here, this is sandwiched up here. Okay. So it's just like that. Basically sandwiched up here, that plastic is used as like a bushing in order to support, from what I can tell. So what I've got to do is I've got to set that apparatus up there, and you've got to run the bolts through these. Okay, so we'll have these all set up. See how that all lines up? If it doesn't line up, then we've got it upside down. So see how those holes line up? Yeah. Okay, those holes will line up with those holes right here. So look, it's not as simple as you think. So these holes will all line up together. Now I've got to hold this thing up while you're doing this, okay? This handle goes on here, and it's a selector, okay? So it selects where you want to be. That pops down. In other words, this is a rotational device that I can aim any way I want to aim it, and that's what we're doing, is installing that rotational device on the chipper. So before we start assembling this thing, I'm going to open it up and let you see what the inside looks like with the cutting blade and stuff like that. This thing opens up so you can clean it out in case something gets jammed up in there. So there's a handle right here, and there's a nut right here normally in place. We'll lift this up, and inside here you can see there is a large heavy disc wheel, and that wheel basically spins. It grabs, it cuts with the cutting blade right here, and these are removable cutting blades. Basically they bolt in, removable cutting blades. It cuts with the cutting blades, and then it kind of slices through here too. So it will chop up stuff and send it right out the chute, which is right there, and that's what we're going to install first. Pretty cool. And a bolt just goes right there. Guys, anytime you're doing mechanical work with a spouse, it's always a wonderful test of love and marriage. I mean, it really is. If you can work together with your spouse and put stuff together like this, then you know you got it going on. So I'm going through all this with Mrs. Stoney Ridge, showing her how we're going to do this. I've got a game plan, but I don't know if my game plan is going to work out, because this thing is big, it's heavy, and I'm going to have it kind of up on my shoulders as we mount it up. She's got a handful of nuts and bolts, got some good gloves, and her heart's in it, I hope. Right? Yeah. Yeah, her heart's in it. Ready? I think so. Rock and roll. Oh. Now you see, you gotta find the sweet spot. There it is. Now put your nut on. Okay. Righty tighty. There you go. Okay. All the way till it gets good. Okay, good, good. She's getting it, guys. Pretty awesome. But the next step, we're gonna put the hopper that you feed the wood in with, okay? Okay, next. Next. Now, guys, what you have to think about with a wood chipper like this is vibration. So there's a lot of vibration that goes on in a wood chipper. So when we first start using it and while we use this wood chipper, we'll have to be thinking about things that might vibrate loose on here. So we've got to keep a close eye on all our nuts and bolts and stuff like that. This thing will shake, rattle, and kick out some brush. So it's going to be pretty cool. And this is the adjustable chute for this thing. And this is what we did not have on the wood chipper that we bought on the one that was like a tow behind. So there's a little handle right here. We lift that handle and we can rotate. If we didn't tighten it down too tight, I think we did. But we can rotate this chute right here to point whatever direction we want to. So right now it would be pointed off to the left-hand side on the tractor, but sometimes we might want it to shoot to the back, to the right-hand side, or wherever. And I plan on building a trailer where we can blow chips into the back of the trailer so we can utilize them back here on the garden and around the fruit trees. Rad. So in case you're missing the point of all this, it's all about living holistically with heavy equipment. So the next thing we're going to install is the hopper. This is the hopper. You see these two bolts?
Yeah.
They go there. Okay. This is your new best friend. Okay. And he goes inside like that. Okay. So he's going to go through there. Inside like that. Now you see this is a little bit bent right here. It may be a tight fit. If it's a tight fit, we may have to take a rubber hammer and knock that back out. So first of all, I got to pick it up. It's probably going to weigh somewhere in the neighborhood of 80 pounds or so. So it's going to be fairly heavy and cumbersome. What you need to do is take this bolt, go through there, start that, and then this bolt and go through there and start that. Okay. So both bolts and nuts need to be in your hands. All right. The bolt goes through, then the washer, then the nut.
Yep.
Got it? Cool. It's probably 120 pounds. Not really worried about scratching things as much as we're worried about me dropping it or hurting my back. Cool?
Yep.
All right. Okay. In case you guys are doing this on your own, there is a tab right here that you can hang this off of the bucket on your tractor. But I've got the help of Mrs. Stoney Ridge here, so I think we'll be just fine. Okay, ready? Go. Other way.
Got it. Give me a little more. There you go.
There you go. Now, the other one. Whew. All right, so we got everything all tightened up. This is the wood chipper fully assembled. We have a PTO shaft we've got to put on it. Then we'll get the tractor backed up here, get this thing fired up. I'm excited. Hope you guys are too. Neutral, kill switch in, contact. Nice. It's a good running tractor right here. 836 hours. I'm gonna say it's 35 years old. Nice tractor. We're gonna be putting it to the test today though. Mrs. Stoney Ridge has been doing so good. We gave her a little class on how to drive the tractor. So she's driving the 240. She's got it in low 1, which is like 2.1 miles an hour, but I think she's enjoying herself. It's taken her 3 times as long to get back down here to the implement as it took me to walk back down here, but she's trucking along. A little education for her. That's a whole lot of tractor for a small lady to handle. She's 5'2", about 120 pounds. She's got that I'm bored look in her eyes. You know, sometimes when you're driving a tractor, you're bush hogging or something like that, that might be the speed you'll be going all day long. Woo-hoo! Always good fun, good learning experiences here on the farm. We're gonna go ahead and get this tractor hooked up, get the RPMs up. What she's doing basically for me is getting the tractor up to good operating temperature before we start really working it hard. Pretty cool. All right, Mrs. Stoney Ridge, do you feel comfortable backing the tractor up to that implement?
Nope.
Nope. So I'll take care of that, guys. She's gonna help back me up to it, but I'll take care of it. So we're gonna be hooking up to this implement. Before we get all hooked up, before everything gets all crowded, I'm gonna lubricate everything. I've got a pretty cool grease gun, and I found a new grease. Well, the grease found me. So I had no idea, but PB Blaster makes a lubricating grease for farm equipment, for heavy equipment, and it's infused with PB Blaster. It's pretty cool stuff. They sent me a tube of it, so I'm trying it out. Pretty cool. So we want to make sure all of our lubrication points are hit on this new piece of machinery. We're probably going to put a little more grease than I normally would put in. Guys, awesome investment I made having this DeWalt grease gun. Very, very handy. All of our shaft points here. There's a U-joint on both ends of the drive shaft. We'll get that guy all greased up. We'll try to get some grease on us too. Always keep a rag with your grease gun. Keep it handy, because you'll need it, no doubt. Got one more grease fitting on the other side here. I always like to lubricate all my machinery before I put it up and put a couple shots of grease in it after I've parked it and let it sit for a little while. In case there's any water in there, it'll kick that water out. And we've already lubricated all the moving parts on the tractor too. All right, we're gonna pull on up here and get all hitched up. Got Mrs. Stoney Ridge guiding me in. We're gonna go into low, reverse, low and slow. And basically, if you can see, this left-hand side that I'm backing up, the left side of the three-point hitch, is stationary. So we need to get that as close as we possibly can to where we need to be. We're right in line with where we need to be. We gotta pull that pin, okay, and hold on to that, put in your pocket, okay, and we gotta pull this. There you go, perfect. We'll get your finger in there. There you go, kick it on there. Kick it on there. Okay, slide your pin in. We'll go to the other side. There you go, kick it on there. There you go. Got it. This is a guard on the PTO shaft that'll keep from catching you and throwing you into the machine, all right? When we pull off from here, this whole crate is gonna slide off with it, okay? So be prepared for that. Stand back a little bit. As I pull off, the metal crate should drop off. If this isn't too heavy for this tractor, it'll lift it up and we'll go on. If it is too heavy, we're gonna have to sit it back down and hook it to the bigger tractor. Same gear you were in, I'm in low 1. We're as high as it goes. That'll do it. Well guys, we got it all mounted up. At first I thought that the lift pump or the lift on this thing wouldn't hold it up. It weighs, like I said, somewhere in the neighborhood of 900 pounds, maybe a touch more, but it lifted it up just fine. So now we got to put this Massey Ferguson 240 to the test. Again, I think it's 41 PTO horsepower. Very, very nice tractor, only 900 hours on it. We've got it up. We got it up in the air. We're going to put our hearing protection on. We're going to go up here in the woods and we're going to throw a few sticks through it. Now, it's pretty much all we're going to do today is just try it out, make sure it works, and then we'll have it ready to rock and roll as soon as the weather dries out enough for us to actually take the tractor off in the fields and off in this big mess that I have over here.
I've been running around this farm just chasing them chickens that are running along, yeah. I've been running around this farm just chasing them chickens that are running along, yeah. 'Cause we got goats, we got pigs, and we got chickens. Goats, pigs, and chickens. Goats, pigs, and chickens.
So, as soon as we got up here, we pulled the PTO shaft to engage the PTO shaft, and this is what happened. We broke the shear pin almost immediately on the PTO shaft. It just snapped. Awesome. So, evidently I had the PTO shaft in a bind of some sort, which isn't very cool. We're gonna have to work on that. Hopefully I got some more shear pins. I think I do. So if you guys work with 3-point equipment, sometimes you have a slip clutch and sometimes you have a shear pin. This setup has a shear pin. I would totally prefer a slip clutch setup on this, but It's there for good reason. I think my angle was too high when I turned on the PTO, and that's what caused it. So we'll start the PTO with this thing at a lower RPM. I think I started it at too high an RPM, and it just snapped that shear pin, and my angle was a little bit off. And in case you don't know what a shear pin is, it's just a bolt, basically, just a heavy duty bolt that goes through a little setup here on the PTO shaft. So we got it all tightened down. Guys, essential tools for your tractor toolbox: a nice pair of old crusty channel locks and a good adjustable wrench. Definitely handy to have in the tractor toolbox. If you guys have any other tips of things we should keep in our tractor toolbox, let me know. Mrs. Stoney Ridge just learned about shear pins. Contact. Mash our clutch in, engage our PTO, and ease off. Get our PTO spinning here. There goes our, broke it. Whew. That was our last shear pin. It did snap that shear pin. I'm gonna shut the tractor down and open up the hopper. Make sure nothing's bound up in there. Make sure I don't accidentally have something in there that might be holding it back. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for the next vlog. Sometimes things don't go just the way you want them to go. We snapped another shear pin. That shear pin was a little bit smaller than the one we had before, so we got a little bit of run to do to our local feed and seed to get some new shear pins. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I hope you enjoyed watching us put this thing together. You're gonna see it in action a whole lot here on the farm. I'm really happy about it. If you look out through here, it's just brush, 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 brush. And also, if you look out through here, this is kind of behind our house, and you see all these skinny, scrawny little trees. We're gonna thin these guys out to where there's about 30 feet in between trees, and we're gonna keep maples and white oaks and red oaks and the pretty trees. Cool? Thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you next time on the Stoney Ridge Farm Vlog. Don't forget to pound that like button, subscribe, and click the little bell icon down there to notify you when I post a new video. All right? Woo!
Well, come on down to the Stoney Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. Woo!
To the bonus footage portion of this video. This is the shear pin section right here. This is the PTO shaft. PTO shaft is spinning freely, no problem, and the shaft inside this machine is spinning freely, and you can see it slowly turning right there. So there's nothing impeding it. It just takes so much torque to get that thing spinning up to speed, and I'm letting off on my PTO too fast, and it's causing it to snap. So that's what the issue is. It's operator error. It's not machine error. I really want to work this machine today, so we're headed off to go get parts, make sure we get the right stuff. We'll put it back together, and it may be that we buy a shaft with a slip clutch in it. I'm not sure. We'll check into it, see how much they cost, and we'll keep you updated. All right? It's gonna be a good time, guys. Thanks. Let's start it over. Lost my train of thought here. Hey, folks, restart.